Imagine walking to work and discovering your neighbor has been dancing for 6 straight hours. That sounds ridiculous until you realize it actually happened. Welcome to Strasbourg in the summer of 1518. According to historical records, it started with one woman. Her name was Frau Trophea, and she simply couldn't stop. She danced through the day and kept going through the night. Most people assumed she would stop after getting tired. She didn't. The town's doctors had absolutely no idea what was happening. Medical school probably didn't prepare them for this chapter. The truly strange part was that she clearly wanted to stop. Her body simply refused to listen. Then things became much worse. The dancing started spreading. Within days, dozens of people were dancing. Business was having a difficult week. It is surprisingly difficult to arrest someone who never stops moving. Soon, religious leaders became involved. Unfortunately, the dancing ignored everyone's schedule. The city council needed a solution. "I have an idea," someone said. It was an idea that somehow made perfect sense at the time. The council hired musicians because they believed the dancers needed to dance it out. Instead, even more people started dancing. That plan aged about as well as milk in the summer sun. The situation was officially out of control. Day after day, the numbers kept growing. Historical reports suggest the number eventually reached into the hundreds. This had stopped being strange and started becoming terrifying. People were collapsing from exhaustion, and nobody knew how to stop it. Imagine watching your entire town dance itself into disaster. The strangest part is that historians still debate why it happened over 500 years later. The city leaders realized they weren't dealing with an ordinary illness. Alright, let's never hire musicians again. The music stopped almost as quickly as it had started. Unfortunately, removing the music didn't stop the dancing. So the city turned to religion. Many sufferers were taken to the shrine of Saint Vitus. People believed Saint Vitus could cure mysterious dancing illnesses. Historical records describe special rituals performed in hopes of ending the curse. For some people, the dancing eventually ended. But here's where history becomes surprisingly complicated. You've probably heard that dozens of people dance themselves to death every day. That claim is actually much shakier than most people think. Some later writers repeated dramatic stories that don't clearly appear in surviving city records. Most historians agree the event was real, but the exact number of deaths remains uncertain. Even without confirmed death counts, the suffering was undeniably real. Eventually, the outbreak faded away. But the mystery was only beginning. 500 years later, researchers are still trying to explain what happened. Today, two major explanations dominate the debate. The first theory blames contaminated rye. Ergot is a fungus that can grow on grain and produce powerful toxins. Those toxins can cause hallucinations and muscle spasms. But there's one very important problem with this theory. Ergot poisoning usually makes people too sick to keep dancing for days. Which brings us to the explanation many historians consider more convincing. Life in Strasbourg had been incredibly stressful. Years of hardship had pushed many people to their emotional limits. Some experts believe the stress became contagious in an unexpected way. It's called mass psychogenic illness. In rare situations, intense psychological stress can spread physical symptoms through groups of people. While impossible to prove, many researchers believe this best fits the available evidence. Even so, nobody can say with complete certainty. Some historical puzzles refuse to give us easy answers. And the strangest chapter of this story is still waiting to be uncovered. As strange as it sounds, Strasbourg wasn't completely alone. Europe had recorded several smaller dancing outbreaks over the centuries. Most were much smaller than Strasbourg, but they shared one unsettling pattern. Nobody was dancing because they wanted to. Today, historians still preserve the records from 1518. Those documents are the reason we know this bizarre story even happened. History gets a lot more interesting when people actually wrote things down. Every generation has tried to solve the mystery. Unfortunately, the evidence refuses to pick a favorite theory. Even experts still disagree. And that's completely normal in historical research. History isn't about pretending we know everything. It's about following the evidence wherever it leads. Sometimes the most honest answer is simply, we don't know. 500 years later, Strasbourg is a thriving city once again. Thankfully, the dancing plague never returned. At least, not on that scale. Today, people voluntarily dance because of social media instead. Historians call this progress, although humanity apparently still enjoys copying each other. Ideas, emotions, and behavior have always spread faster than we like to admit. The technology changed, human nature didn't. That's one reason historians still study this strange event. It reminds us that understanding people can be harder than understanding science. The music stopped centuries ago, but the mystery never did. Some of history's greatest stories don't have satisfying endings. And maybe that's exactly why we still remember them. If you were living in Strasbourg in